Okay, so Dynamite Spring Break-thru was last night, this morning, whatever, and definitely going to be quite the talking point, especially the final match and how it ended. But yeah, let's get into it, talk about the entire show, and obviously, I know what people are here for. Let's get into the final match at the end. So, the show actually opened up with MJF arriving, and he's just very happy, obviously, because of his retainment against Kenny. And then he speaks to Don, and he's like, Renee's trying to tell him, like, Max, listen, he's just ignoring it, and he's just speaking to Don. And Don's like, I'm sorry about it, you know what I mean? And he's like, Don, and he's like, what? Darby won? And he's like, what? And he said, yeah, Darby won. And he's like, what the fuck? So he's saying, like, tell Andrade he's not worth a carry. He's fucking shit. And then he's like, and Don, I love you, buddy, but what the fuck? You know, shit like that. And he goes, this isn't the favor, by the way. So there's definitely a favor going on. But then with that, Renee just screams, Max! Darby, like, you know, tries to tell him, he goes, when did this happen? You know, when is it? And she goes, right now. And then Darby's already entered. Darby's fired up. And then Max goes, whoa, you know, comes in and goes, I'm not fighting nobody on short notice. That's not fair to me. I'm unprepared. That's not right. And then Darby cuts this promo, basically saying, Max, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to beat you with a Scorpion Deathlock. And basically Darby cuts the hometown hero promo, saying he obviously trained here under Buddy Wayne, stuff like that. The crowd's really into Darby. The crowd's great all night, and they're really into Darby here. And then Brian's on commentary. Brian gets to go, Max, you're right. I've just got word from Tony Khan that yeah, you are right. You will not be getting you will not be having the match right now. And Max starts celebrating as he does, hands up, top rope. And then he goes, but you will be having a main event tonight for the World Championship. Max starts flipping out, goes to front. Brian just laughs. It's fucking great. He tries not to break. And then Darby just goes, Scorpion Deathlock, and walks off. The crowd's fired. Darby's so emotional. He's walking out and he's throwing himself at the barriers. It's fucking nuts. He's a fucking idiot. But Max isn't happy, obviously. But yeah, they confirmed the World Championship match is still going ahead in the night. And yeah. After this, though, it actually shows Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay both in a little, like, the doctor's room after Dynamite, and, like, they're both very bummed out. And Kenny's really, like, in disbelief, like, I just don't know. He had no words. He was genuinely disbelieving. Ospreay has to give him a bit of a pep talk, saying, look, Kenny, you know, I've seen you. I was there for Tokyo Dome 2017 against Okada. You give up then when he beat you. Don't give up now. You've still got it. You know, I've still got goals at that, AEW World Championship. And Kenny they're both basically hyping each other up in a way. Like, Kenny goes, Will, you're the future. I've had my time. You're the future of this industry. There's nothing up. And Kenny, and I thought this was very neat, especially considering, like, I don't know if it was always a work between their relationship or they've actually just healed it or what. But, like, you know, there was obviously a bit of tension between Ospreay and Kenny for a good time. And when they done that, like, Ospreay gives a little kiss on the forehead, and he goes, Kenny, you're my hero. Real talk, you mean that? And it's like, I thought that was very nice. I don't know what it was, just emotional in a way, but like, I don't know. Again, I don't know if that was the dogs here, by the way, if you couldn't hear. But like, I think I've just never understood why they had the beef, but I do because of the merch thing. But whatever, I don't know if this is real or not. But that was really nice to see if they've actually buried it. I know they've had matches and team with each other, but still. So they're definitely teasing the pair of them still down the road for the world title, and especially, you know, with the way it's going, especially with Kenny as well, that's really cool. So yeah, that was a nice little promo. It's always nice to see it. However, after this, we actually got our first match of the night, which I didn't know about doing the predictions. We got Tommaso Ciampa versus Desmond Xavier, following obviously the TNT Championship gauntlet for Ciampa. I didn't know what they were going to do with Ciampa after this, so given Xavier, I thought Xavier as well having a singles match was pretty cool. Obviously Desmond Xavier's off the Rascals with Myron Reed and Zachary Wentz. Hey, I remember them. Yeah, as an actual match, I thought this was good. I mean, Ciampa's great. Ciampa's so good. How Ciampa just sells things, his expressions, everything about it is really good. Just in general, I'm a big fan of how Ciampa's just handled himself every single aspect of AEW. Against someone like a Desmond Xavier, he's really good because obviously he's so high flying, he's so quick, he really benefits from that. So like that really works. A lot of striking, obviously, as you can expect, but Ciampa looks real vicious. He doesn't look like anything. Honestly, the main thing was it thought a lot would change in terms of after the TNT gauntlet, regardless of the result, in terms of how he looked, because obviously, you know, it's a bit different without Kyle, but no, it doesn't seem to, and that's the main positive for me. So after the match, I thought this was cool. He goes, TNT Championship, whatever, I'm coming for all the gold. I thought like that. Ciampa does get the win. I like that. I like the fact that they've not really changed anything about Ciampa. I thought that was a very important thing. You know, he's just being a consistent, great aspect of Dynamite and Collision, whatever show he's on. He's becoming one of those real, good, reliable guys like a Roddy, like a Claudio. And that was the main thing with Ciampa. I'm really enjoying that. So I think that was definitely a great call. I liked the match. It was a decent little match, nothing crazy. But as an actual like thing to just establish, yeah, Ciampa ain't changing, don't worry. That's the main thing I'm happy about. Really happy with that. After this, we actually got our FTR promo, where FTR Pro obviously come out, start gloating about the Edge and Christian win. They're saying, you know, they're gone, but all that shit, whatever. And they go, living legends, they're the best, all that stuff, you know, just gloating as they are. They're just brilliant, saying, look, we'll just, anyone who comes our way, Bucks, Cope and Christian, whatever, we'll take them out, we're not bothered. And then they go, unlike Cope and Christian, we recognise how talented we are, so we're going to be more generous than them because we're better than them. Instead of a 5-second pose, we're going to give you a 10-second pose for photography. So they start posing, Cash starts doing like 4 poses. Fucking great. One of them's just like that. It was funny as fuck. That was basically it, you know, what you expect from an FTR. I thought we'd have an interference from the Bucks or Cope and Christian, but they don't actually, so I thought that was quite surprising. But as an actual establishing thing for FTR, great. I was worried there might have been, I thought they were going to acknowledge more with Stokely in the match, but thank God they never. I was worried that they were going to kind of kick him out or turn on him, and I thought that was very scary. But as an actual promo, solid, what you expect, quite the basic, just nice to see FTR. It's funny when they come out, he goes, Shivani just goes, oh, where's FTR? Great. He just fucking hates them, but I enjoyed that. I thought that was a really nice little promo. Again, establishment, that's what a lot of this show feels like, there's a lot of establishment, and I kind of like that. After that, though, we actually get our first defense of Kevin Knight since becoming TNT champion against Claudio Castagnoli of the Death Riders. I thought this match was great. It's exactly what you expect. I mean, Claudio's so bog standard, so good at what he does. Kevin Knight, again, these two archetypes of wrestlers work because one of them's obviously a high flyer, one of them's a big man. Claudio's so athletic. The UFO splashes Kevin Knight gets in here are great. Claudio looks really good. I don't know what it was. He looks a lot better. I think it might have just been the matchup. The uppercuts Claudio lands are excellent. I mean, everything about Claudio with the giant swing, as well, Kevin Jet sells the giant swing. There's a point where he doesn't, I forgot what move it was. It wasn't the giant swing, but it wasn't long after Kevin basically goes to do a Hurricane Rana on the ropes, like following it, but slips a tiny bit, and Claudio changes it. That was really good. That was a really good little counter to a maneuver there. But Kevin gets the win as you expect. That was really good. I enjoyed that. Kevin Knight's just the man. No coast to coast, unfortunately. No coast to coast. But Kevin Knight is the fucking man. Really happy that he's won. Good match. Really going to solidify. I wonder what they're going to do. I thought we'd get more. After that, I thought we'd get like a little thing after it, you know, in terms of calling out. He does get the mic after the match. And he does start saying to people, you know, like, wow, you know, thanks for your support, stuff like that. About the TNT going. And he starts saying to Speedball, you know, Speedball, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? You got, you know, end of the day, I understand why you're upset, but don't worry, you're the man, you know, you can get through it, stuff like that. And then he goes, also, MJF and Darby, you got a match, your Jet, I'll be keeping that on, because 2-belt Jet sounds way too fly. I like that line. Just as a fan of Kevin Knight, I'm just happy that he's been able to do this, so that's the main thing for me, but I'm just a fan of Kevin. The match was good, as you expect from him and Claudio. I hope we get a bit of a pathway with the TNT reign for him. I hope we get a bit of a feud, either with Speedball or not. Hope we get a bit of foresight what we're going through soon, because that's a big thing for me. So, after this, we actually got our Jericho and Gates of Agony and Ricochet the Demand promo. Again, Renee had a lot of involvement with this episode, and I kind of like that. Obviously, she interviews Jericho here, and it's basically Jericho talk about how, you know, his performance, because his performance at Dynasty was great yet again. It really was. And then basically Ricochet and Gates of Agony interrupt him. And they're like, Chris, don't worry, you know, I respect you, but, you know, I had to put you down like that. And Jericho's basically saying to Renee, like, you know, he was 3-on-1, so it was a bit unfair, but he was proud of his performance, as he should be. And then when Ricochet comes out, he starts, like, cutting the promo on Ricochet. Nothing crazy, he doesn't do the list again. But he just starts going, like, hey there, Ricochet bald. Like, it just stays in between his breaths. It's like, what the hell? And everyone's laughing at it. And then he goes, you know, maybe if me and you rematch about your two stooges, stupid and ugly. he just starts saying like this, it's going bald, 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 idiot, bald, and it's like, what? It's like, it was funny as hell, like, but it was just also like, okay, just stupid, and Ricochet's like, hey, stop that now, you know, piece of shit. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to feel about Ricochet and Jericho going further. I thought they would have established who Jericho was gonna like have him as his little allies going into this. I don't know if, again, Guevara's the main one for me, but you know, just seems like the likely outcome. But in terms of an actual promo, it just establishes that, again, we're going forward with more Ricochet and Jericho, which I'm not against as a dynamic. It does work. But in terms of an actual... The match was good. Jericho looks good. Again, I do like how they, you know, do give credit to his performance, that it was good. And Jericho's like, you know, he clearly appreciates that. So that was the main thing. I really did enjoy his performance on Dynamite, Dynasty as well. That was really good. So, as long, honestly, the fact that he got the little credit he deserved for that, I was really happy about that. But yeah, Jericho and Ricochet is continuing. Promo was funny, what you expect. I wonder how long this goes on for. But yeah, Jericho... The fact that, you know, he had that performance isn't like a, oh God, sort of thing, you know what I mean? But I hope we don't do this long, because Ricochet and the Gates of Agony, they've got the trios belts to fucking win. That's the main thing. After this, though, we actually get, so after that moment with Kenny and Ospreay, apparently Ospreay went to the doctor's, well, after the doctor's room, and they demanded a match, and he got the match we're getting next, which is Ospreay versus Hechicero. I think this was definitely match of the night for me. Definitely, I thought it was a very good showcase. Again, it's not a perfect match. There's a big flaw in it, which I will get into. But as a match, it was great. I mean, I think it shows Brian's on commentary, and he really puts that over. So Hechicero is one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. I adore Hechicero whenever we get to watch him. I think he's excellent. But in terms of an actual match against Ospreay, Ospreay's really... I think Ospreay's in a subtle, slow burn and change of his style. He's still going to be a high flyer. And that's what he put over on commentary. It was like, Ospreay doesn't have to be this way, he just chooses to be. Because Brian puts over, like, he's an excellent technical wrestler. And that's what I feel like they really highlight here, his technical wrestling ability. I think Ospreay's great as a technical wrestler. So I'm happy that they kind of put that over, especially against someone like, against a Hechicero. I like how he's doing, in the match, he does a lot more of a standing hidden blade. As well, don't worry, he does the running hidden blades too. But he does a standing hidden blade again. He done one against Moxley. I really enjoyed that. So I think, again, there is a slow change, obviously, with the neck injury as it's going. He is high-flying still, obviously, but, you know, this is the flaw of the match. They're really playing into the neck angle, which, you know, I'm used to that with Brian. I'm used to that with a bunch of wrestlers, as you are. Even with Kenny with his diverticulitis. It's annoying. I don't like it. And the point is now where you've got Doc Samson in the match. Hechicero's beating Ospreay. So Hechicero does, like, this brutal... basically this neck bomb thing, this pile driver essentially. Wait there. So yeah, Hechicero does like this good, like nasty selling ass neck basic pile driver. And don't get me wrong, like, you know, it did look like it actually hurt Ospreay, but yeah, the selling, so it's very boy crowd wolf thing. And I'm not saying that it isn't, but you know what I mean, it's for the fan. And because you can tell when something's a work and someone isn't sometimes. Now, the problem with this match, again, it's the Doc Samson shit. Like, again, the neck selling's... I don't like it, but, you know, it is what it is. But, like, so you got Doc Samson there, and he's interrupting the match. Hechicero's getting on with the match. And even commentary, Brian and Don are both going, why is he getting involved? And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Why is he getting involved? And when Brian's going, like, look, I don't want to agree with Don, but, right, like, Hechicero's hating him. And basically Rick Knox, the ref, is saying to Hechicero, go away. You know, you're hating him. And Doc Samson's just staying there. It's like... what the hell? And then he's just like, you know, Hechicero eventually gets hold of him again, you know, starts doing a bit more damage, and then Doc Samson's still just standing there. It's like, bro, fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you're trying to do, and I understand if it's a serious thing, get it, but, like, again, Brian and Don say it great, is if he can't wrestle a match, it's either he can or he can't. There's no in between. It's like, I don't want this for every Ospreay match. He's too good. Like, this the thing, if Ospreay can't wrestle again, if Ospreay's in the middle of changing styles, you gotta let it breathe. You can't just have every match interrupted for 5 minutes near enough. Like, the entire break, 3 minutes worth of it, most of it was just Doc Samson sitting there while Hechicero's... You can see Hechicero in the background. He's, like, cheering to the crowd, clearly, you know, trying to keep the crowd alive. And it's like, I just don't get it. I'm used to it with Brian, but I don't like it with Ospreay, because Ospreay's clearly got that style kind of slowly getting tweaked and changed, where it's not going to be as reckless. Touch wood, it isn't, anyway. But, like, you know, there's clearly something there. So I just don't like Doc Samson standing there like a fucking idiot. I thought that was stupid. I really did. But as an actual match, again, it was definitely match of the night. It was still very good. Ospreay gets the win, as you expect. Hidden Blade, beautiful Hidden Blades. He's really focusing on that at the minute, again, with the standing ones and the running ones, which are great. Styles clash, stuff like that. But there is definitely it's like a pack. Like, you remember, you know how Pac is, where Pac slowed down a bit for Pac level anyway. And Pac's still a high flyer, but there's definitely I feel like Pac definitely went into a bit more of a technical wrestling evolution. This is definitely what's happening for Ospreay, and I'm not against it at all, because he's really fucking good. Does a figure four that's brilliant. Shit like that. And I think that's what's best with Ospreay here. But as a match, definitely match of the night. And honestly, I'm again, Hechisero's just a fucking man. I would want to see more Hechicero. I really would. Again, I wouldn't have been against Hechicero winning the TNT belt, but if you want to do more matches, if you wanted to do Kevin Knight versus Hechicero, that's a matchup I would be all for. Excellent. After this, though, we actually get Tekla cutting a little promo. So she does a little promo. She's on the stage, and she goes, "Damn, this bitch is alive. Renee, you look good, but you look nothing like the champion Tekla." You know, she's just great. She's like, "Oh, no, 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 no," all that stuff. She's brilliant. I love Tekla. And it's continuing. She's just going, "I beat Jamie, another damn bitch." All stuff like that. She's just all on one. And then Alex Windsor comes out, and she's like, "You really think you beat Tekla?" Calling her out, and she goes, "Whoa, whoa, carry on, man." She puts a weird fucking British accent on in an Austrian accent. She's just brilliant. And she's just she's just laughing at her. She's just brilliant. And she goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." All shit like that. She's like, "Ah." And she goes, "You forget you're not the only champion here. I'm the New Japan Strong champion. And you know what they say about you in Japan, Tekla? You this idiot who got herself fired." And then Tekla goes, "Hey, I did not get myself fired from Japan." And then she like laughs to herself a minute and goes, "I did get myself left from Japan." but it was just because they couldn't handle Tekla. Stuff like that. She's excellent. And she's just comical. And then as the favour went on, she obviously, her and Alex challenge each other to a match for a Collision tonight. Again, Thursday's Collision, don't forget. We do our predictions later today. And basically, after that, the Sisters of Sin come in, try to attack Alex Windsor. She counters it, and then it's just a standoff, basically. And Tekla, she goes to chase after Tekla, but Tekla's gone. And that's that, basically. But yeah, Tekla, again, the best, fucking unbelievable. Love Tekla, not much wrong with it. Windsor's a good challenge. I like Windsor a lot. Thought we'd get some appearance from Jamie, we don't. But either way, actual Alex Windsor versus Tekla, that'll be a very good match too. Looking forward to that. So after this, we actually get Moxley and the Death Riders backstage. Where so during the match with Ospreay, I forgot to say, Marina Shafir was watching the match. And when she was watching it, she know Ospreay's just looking over, and then she comes back and she's like, Moxley in the promos basically saying, "I don't want to be surprised." She comes back during the promo, and he's just like, "How was he? A bit green, whatever." So basically just asking for an update on Ospreay, saying, "Look, I'll just beat his ass." You know what I mean? I think they might be trying to run that back. But, and then basically Moxley goes on to say, because he has got a match on Collision, an Eliminator Continental Championship match with Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne gets a huge pop just from the mention, and he goes, because he goes, "What's that kid's name?" And Garcia goes, "Nick Wayne." Funny as hell. And he goes, Continental, biggest match of your life, be ready, put up or shut up, all stuff like that. And he goes, "Also, it is Continental Championship rules, so leave that mom of yours in the back." And he just starts laughing, and I'm like, fuck off, Moxley. But, yeah, Moxley, brilliant. I just love how the Death Riders visually look during the promos. I've always enjoyed that. But, yeah, Moxley versus Nick Wayne's going to be good, but I don't know if they're just ending him and Ospreay's feud for a bit, or at least put it on ice for a few more months, but I'm not against that. So, after this, we actually got Willow and Camille's match for the TBS belt, obviously following the little attack on Dynasty. Now, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel about this. I think also, so Camille looks okay. There's not, I think Camille's obvious whole thing is the powerhouse, that's what she's labelled as. And as an actual presentation, she looks very calm, she looks very collected, she looks very in control, but the striking's not there. I think the control in terms of the lifts, the holds look decent. There's just something missing from Camille so far. And I feel like the striking for me, I would definitely have it as a striker, as well as these powerhouse holds. I feel like, I don't know, you're trying to like present Camille as this big dangerous threat, and I just don't see it yet. I think she's definitely not awful, but it's not great, you know what I mean? Especially to get a title shot straight away. Even during the match as well, like, there's not a lot of character antics, stuff like that. There's, you know, there's not a lot of... I wouldn't say there's a lot of things that, like, that's the strongest thing she's got. Like, don't get me wrong, she's probably her best things is her holds and obviously her size. But, like, nothing like, her striking's the best thing. Willow looks good. Willow's selling her ass off, bro. She's fucking doing real good work here in terms of the selling. But it's just the believability of Camille's movements herself. Now, I think the match... So, again, I've made it very clear I'm not a fan of Willow's backslide as a finish. I'm not. But, as an actual... For this match, I kind of get it. Because I get it because you want to kind of protect Camille and kind of build her. So, I kind of get it this time. And don't get me wrong, I feel like you could have done that in the match as well. But the backslide kind of makes sense here for what they're trying to do. Again, make keyword trying. So, as an actual match, it was fine. It didn't really get me going. It didn't really, you know, get me all going. I feel like Willow's great, and I feel like Willow does a lot of good work here, but because it was so focused on presenting Camille and giving her a lot of control, that's where it fell short. But again, it's not awful. It's just not for me, this one. But it is what it is. You know, you can't really... It's a talent coming back. It's Willow selling her ass off, like I said, so that's the main thing. But as an actual match, it wasn't awful. For the expectation going in, it wasn't bad. The backslide wins it. Camille's just... There just needs to be a lot of refining. I would like to see Camille do these basically what the Divine Dominion are doing, just these, you know, showcase matches, essentially squashes, and that's what benefits her massively. So I'd definitely be getting her on to do them. But Willow obviously retains, and I wonder what we do going forwards. But then after that, we actually straight away we get a promo segment backstage straight away with Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander, where Shida's obviously, they teamed and they're like, you know, Willow, well done, you know, me and my best friend Statlander are watching. And then she goes, Statlander, don't worry, me and you are going to have a match on it. And Statlander keeps trying to jump in, and Shida's like, just keeps walking over her, and Statlander's like, what the fuck? And then she just confirming we've got a match on Dynamite, on Collision tomorrow, tag match, you know, the biggest, you know, a great match. It's bullshit, you know what I mean? And Statlander, so Shida gets off, and when Shida gets off, Statlander's just like, what the fuck? But yeah, that was that. Willow match fine, clearly building something with Shida, and I wonder how Statlander plays into that. I thought they should have built Harley Cameron into this. I thought there was going to be a little Harley appearance, because obviously, you know, the whole thing with her not teaming with Statlander, you know, that's a big thing. So I feel like you've definitely got mileage there, and Willow could obviously involvement there. But, you know, ever since Willow and Statlander's reunited as friends, it's kind of just been dropped. So that's kind of an issue I've had. But it is what it is. But the match, fine. Camille just needs more time in the oven. Nothing wrong with that. She does come back, but she definitely needs more time. But after this, we actually get towards our main event. You see Max walking through the corridor. And then we cut to Darby and Renee walking, and Renee's like, this is it, Darby, this is it, you know, really hyping him up. And then as they're walking, they just stop, and Darby looks, and it's Sting's returned, and he's like, are you ready? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, and like, you know, Darby's like, yeah, you know, it's your time. And Darby goes, it's showtime. And Sting goes, no, it's your time. Sting's really hyping him up, really fucking hyping him. Go fuck him up, go beat his ass. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, fuck yeah. And he just keeps going, it's your time. It's really good, really sells the moment. As soon as I saw this, I knew exactly what the fuck was happening. And obviously we'll get into that, because the next thing is the main event. It is Darby versus Max for the AEW Men's World title. Now, as the match starts, I thought, like, it just didn't, it felt like Darby was going to win. And that's the obvious thing. So, and the crowd's really up for it. Max is obviously being dick as usual. And, you know, it's hard, like, they put it over, like, Darby's had to go back and come back, you know, it's a bit of a weird one. But when he's come back, man, you know, they do the whole introductions, and he keeps Max goes up and rubs the belt in Darby's face. I fucking love that. The imagery of when Aubrey has to get them to touch the belt, she goes up to Darby, and Darby's sitting there, and he just puts his hands on the belt. It's like, yeah, that's fucking it. So then, what I like was, so during the match, you know, they go for a lock-up, basically gets broken, and then Max goes, time out, crowd starts booing the hell out of him. And he goes, I forgot to take my ring, and gets the ring out of his pants, gives it to Aubrey. And as Aubrey goes, what the hell, and puts it in the, you know, puts it over, and then Max gives Darby a low blow, and it was like, fuck, and I'm like, if they do this, that's incredible. But then as she's doing that, Darby gets up and gives him a low blow, so it equals out, and then the crowd's on fire. I mean, the crowd was electric at this point. Then Darby goes up and does a coffin drop, and everyone's like, cover him. Then he goes up and does another one. Then another one, he drags a voice, and I'm thinking, shit, is he going to lose this because of ego? He gets a fourth, and gets up, gets the Scorpion Deathlock as well. And then after that, he goes for the crossbody, headlock crossbody, whatever. The word he said, I forgot what it's exactly called off the top of my brain. He gets that, and Darby gets the win. So Darby is your new AEW Men's World Champion from a spam of like 5-6 finishes, and in like under 5 minutes, the entire crowd again's all over. Darby's really emotional. All the locker room comes out. Brody gives him a massive hug. You know, basically all the locker room comes out. That was really good. Obviously the Bucks, the Rascals, Dorada was there, Mr. Go, people like that. Brody was a big one. You know, people like that. You know, Clear, Cassidy, Roddy and stuff. And then Sting walks out, and Sting gives him a proper, Sting's going, yeah, gives the woo, the crowd's loving it. And then Sting and Darby embrace. That's how Dynamite ends. Obviously Max is gone at this point. There's a lot of thoughts on this. There's a lot of thoughts from me. I think I'm going to make a video on it on its own. I think I am. It makes the most sense. Probably today, if I can. But to get the thoughts out the way straight away, I'm indifferent. I feel a bit odd about it. I think it's a very complex issue. Because it's fine. I'm not against the title being dropped on Dynamite. I'm not. I just think the manner they did it was a bit weird. I feel like we've been robbed of a true match there. That's a big thing. But also, just overall, I've made my feelings clear on Darby and that world title, so it kind of raises a lot of questions. What they do here that's what really gets me. Again, this episode of Dynamite felt very establishing, and going forward, that's what I enjoy. You know, I like what they establish it, but again, I think that should have been on Dynasty, but I get what they're trying to do. But overall, the episode was good. It was great moments. Again, I love when Spring Break-thru seems to be like the feel-good moment Dynamite for a while, so I like that. Obviously, last year's with Joe and the Ops. So I feel like Darby winning the belt, I'm not against it. I like the emotion, the amount of emotion, like, you know, was shown throughout this episode. Darby's family are obviously there, front row, stuff like that. I enjoy that. I really do. So I feel like it was a very nice thing, but in the logistics and, you know, as someone who watches week by week, it's a bit, what do we do? Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of like, there's questions to be asked, and it's fair enough to ask those. But in terms of the actual decision and how it's being presented, I'm going to make a separate video. But overall, just to get the quick thoughts out the way of it, not against it. Definitely issues with it though. Definitely things I want to uncover, but kind of, if I had to give my like enjoyment of it out of a 10 of just the decision of Darby being how it's handled, I'd say it's about 7. I would say it's about a 7. So not against it, but don't love it. But definitely, you know, obviously got a lot of time to cook, but we'll talk about that in a separate video. But that is how Dynamite Spring Break-thru ends. Not a bad show. Matches were good. Definitely, again, more focused on establishing. There was only real one good match, I'd say. Again, don't get me wrong, the Ciampa match was good, but the Ospreay and Hechicero match was the base, but even then had flaws. It's very much, again, establishing what's going forward, and I'm not against that. But as an actual card, following Dynasty, does its job, does everything well. The end, it's a very, you can tell that moment's going to be lived forever. Darby winning that belt, which is very cool. But overall, as an actual card, not bad. Yeah, there's issues, but, you know, it's not a bad card, definitely not. But definitely memorable. That's the main thing. Definitely a memorable Dynamite. But yeah, that is my thoughts on Dynamite. I tried to be this one brief because I've got work. Yeah, so let me know what you thought of Dynamite this week. Let me know what you obviously thought of Darby win and how it was handled. It was a bit weird, but, you know, we'll uncover it a bit more. But yeah, definitely a memorable Dynamite. And let me know what you thought of Darby winning, because I'm very interested to hear what people think about this.